Yo, what is good, yo? It's your boy Ty back here with another video, and in this video today we are going to be ranking the best centers in NBA 2K22 MyTEAM. Now it is the very start of the year. The meta is not really defined in 2K yet. I don't know if tall centers are really the meta. I'm thinking so. I don't know if stretch bigs are going to be the meta. I don't really know right now in 2K. So I'm just going to be giving you guys my overall opinion on each and every one of these cards, ranking them from S to F tier. Now, I am going to say that there is a big gap between B tier and C tier, okay? Anybody above B tier in this list, I would say is a usable center. Now, anybody below B tier is not a card that I personally would use. Now, before we dive into the center tier list, if you are new to my channel and have not yet, please consider smashing that subscribe button as we're on the road to 80,000 subscribers. So we're going to start it off with Al Horford here. Now, Al Horford is a very good card. I mean, I think you got to get him from the pre-order packs. I do want to say that's how you do get him from the pre-order promo packs. Al Horford, 6'10", has 3 hot spots from around the arc, 23 base badges. The one thing I like about Al Horford is he can shoot the ball, right? He can shoot the ball. Defensive badges are pretty solid as well. Animation-wise, right, the set shot 5, we know Al Horford never really has a super good release. So that's just part of it, right? That's part of Al Horford and what he's going to give us. But at the same time with Al Horford, stretch bigs could be the meta, right? That's important. Al Horford is going to be able to defend some of the other bigs in the game, as well as the fact that Al Horford, right, can shoot the ball. So I have him at A tier here. He could be anywhere from, I would say A or B, but for me, I have him at A tier at the start of our list. Now, Alvin Adams is up next, and I don't like Alvin Adams at all, guys. He's 6'9". He's got a 52 3 ball, 63 speed with 42 lateral quickness. What do you want me to say about Alvin Adams? He's short. He can't really do anything on the court. He's not quite F tier. There's only going to be one guy at F tier. He's not quite F tier. He's not quite that useless. But man, let me tell you guys something. Alvin Adams is not very good in this game. Now, Antonio Davis is our next card here. And here's the thing with Antonio Davis. Here's the thing when I'm looking at these guys on my list. I don't think Antonio Davis is bad. And hear me out. Hear me out when I talk about Antonio Davis here. When you compare him to a guy like Alvin Adams, Antonio Davis is the same height. But Antonio Davis has 65 speed with a 66 lateral quickness and is incredible defensively as far as badge-wise, right? He's going to be able to defend at a decent level, decent enough speed, decent enough lateral quickness. And I love the badges on Antonio Davis. Now, he is an inside center. He can't shoot the ball at all. But I think he is a big step above a guy like Alvin Adams. Now, again, this is my own opinion. But I think Antonio Davis is a lot closer to that level of Al Horford than a guy like Alvin Adams. So I think D tier is a literal perfect spot for Antonio Davis right here. Our next guy is going to be Arvydas Sabonis here. Now, Arvydas Sabonis, guys, is not... He's a tricky guy in this game. It's tricky because I've heard tall centers are kind of the meta. You combine that with Arvydas' ability to shoot the mid-range shot. I don't think he is that bad. I don't think he's that bad. Now, with that being said, am I going to hype up Arvydas Sabonis as a top center in the game? No, but he is 7'3". It's tough to contest him inside, and that's really the big thing for Arvydas Sabonis. You give him the duo with Clyde, it improves some things for him, especially the 3-ball goes up to a 60, which, heck, then if it goes up to a 60, maybe he can shoot the ball a little bit better from the corner or whatever the situation might be. The one thing I do like with duos is badges change this year compared to last year. I'm not super high on Arvydas Sabonis, but if you're just getting the game and kind of want a cheesy center, I think Arvydas Sabonis can be that guy for you. Now, Bill Laimbeer, our next guy here. I've actually had the opportunity to use Bill Laimbeer. It was, you know what, I'm going B tier for Bill Laimbeer. I got the chance to use him in the draft mode, and he wasn't terrible. He's slow, yes, I know, but he has an 83 ball. And say whatever you want about his release, it is one of the worst in the game, but he does have the ability to shoot the basketball. I'm not going to sit here and gas him and say it's a make or break situation, but I am going to say it is decently important. Heck, If you give him the duo with Isaiah Thomas, his defensive badges become a lot better too. I think as a B tier center, I wouldn't recommend really using Bill Laimbeer. But if you do get him in like the draft mode or whatever the case may be, I don't think he's that bad in 2K in general. The next guy is Bill Walton. Bill Walton's not very good in this game. Is he, as bad as Alvin Adams? I don't think so. I think Bill Walton's a perfect C tier player. He can't shoot, not that great as far as speed and lateral quickness, but he's not as bad as Alvin Adams. Again, C tier or lower cards, I probably would not recommend using. You look at Bill Walton, 6'11", can't shoot the ball, can't really handle it. Defensive badges aren't terrible though. Look, as far as amethysts are concerned, Bill Walton is a card I'm not super high on. Now, Bob Mcadoo is a card that I really have liked in years previous, right? In years previous with Bob Mcadoo, I've really liked the card. I think there was a pink diamond Bob Mcadoo that had like a 50-something rated 3-ball. Maybe it was low 60s. I think it was 2K19 or no, 2K20 maybe, early on in the year that was solid. Bob Mcadoo defensively is going to be solid. That's why he's at B tier. He defensively is absolutely incredible. In my opinion, he's just a little bit better than Antonio Davis. I think that's a great way to describe Bob Mcadoo and what he can do for you. Midi, he's going to be able to knock down mid-range jumpers decently just because of a 74 rated mid-range, as well as a pretty easy jump shot to time. I can't be any higher than I am on Bob Mcadoo, but he's a guy I really have always liked in 2K. Now, a guy I'm going to talk about for a decently long time here is Brad Daugherty. Now, here's the thing. As far as a pink diamond token reward, I don't think he's super good. But I'm not going to sit here and hate on the card, okay? At this stage of 2K, a 65 3-ball, is that greenable? Well, it depends who you ask, and depends if you give him catch and shoot. It depends if you give him the badges he needs. But let's say even if he can't shoot, he has a 62 speed of 45 lateral quickness with some solid defensive badges, right? The best thing about him are his post moves. That's why he is a pink diamond, which I don't really value that high, as well as he's 7 feet tall. I think he's an A tier player, and that's not saying too much considering he's a pink diamond token reward, which you got quite a few tokens away for. I don't think he's worth that, and I think if the post game really becomes the meta, then he might be above where I have him on my list. But for a guy like me, I have a hard time seeing Brad ever crack that S tier category. Brook Lopez is a guy that I think is okay in 2K. I'm not gonna sit here and hate on Brook Lopez. Defensively, as far as speed-wise, he's gonna struggle. He's definitely going to struggle pretty big time. But for Brook Lopez, the one thing I do like is the fact that he gives you the ability to shoot the ball at least decently. A 73 ball with his release, you're going to be able to knock down a few shots with the card, and the fact that he's 7 feet tall helps as well. I don't think Brook Lopez, he's going to be at the lower end of B tier, but if Bill Laimbeer's in B tier and Arvydas Sabonis is too, I got to put Brook Lopez in here. He's a big step above Bill Walton at our C tier. Channing Frye, this one might come as a surprise to you guys. Our first S tier player. Now, if you're wondering how to get Channing Frye, he is a collector level reward. And once you do get the Evo, he becomes quite a bit better. 93 ball, 65 speed, 55 lateral quickness. Becomes absolutely incredible as far as shooting is concerned. Defensively, I mean, he leaves a little bit to be desired, but he can still knock down shots. 7 feet tall, hot spots from 4 to 5 places around the arc. He just becomes incredible. I think he probably is the worst player we're going to have at S tier. But if you're looking for a stretch big, I think Channing Frye is the option that I would really look for at this stage of 2K. It's just the truth. Now, is he worth the collector level award for most people? Probably not. He's not really worth grinding for. But with that being said, he's a solid card in the game. Chris Kaman is absolutely terrible, guys. Look, I'm going to give you guys my honest opinion on every one of these cards. Chris Kaman stinks. The only thing keeping him out of F tier is the fact that he does have a base of 42 badges. I don't know why he's got silver stop and pop with a 43 ball. Don't ask me, but he does. I don't know why he has sniper. I don't know why he has lucky number 7. I don't know why he has half the badges he does, but he does, and that's what keeps him off of F tier. I still, with his stats, would never even consider running the card. Dan Issel, he's better than Chris Kaman. That's the one way to phrase it. He is only 6'9", but he is a little quicker. Has a 58 3-ball, so maybe you can get that thing to work. Kevin Love base. I'm not super high on Dan Issel, but again, C tiers are cards again that I wouldn't use. I wouldn't use Dan Issel ever. But when it came down to it, is Dan Issel better than Alvin Adams and Chris Kaman? I think so. That's why I have him at C tier. Daryl Dawkins. I'm telling you guys, this Daryl Dawkins card is solid. He's a collector level award, and I don't think anybody's gotten him yet. But we're just going to talk about him because he is in the game. Not going to be able to shoot the ball, but he's going to have 75 speed. Going to have 69 lateral quickness. Dunking stats are incredible. Incredible rebounder. Listen to the badges, though. Gold box, brick wall, pogo stick, silver intimidator, rebound chaser, worm, bronze post, lockdown, and rim protector, as well as incredible finishing badges, including Hall of Fame back down punisher, which I low-key think could be a cheesy badge this early on. Lob City finisher and posterizer, as well as an incredible array of finishing badges. Again, I don't know if he's quite to the level of the other two guys we're going to see at S tier, excluding Channing Frye. But I think Daryl Dawkins is solid. If you do grind the collector level award and get him pretty early, he's going to be usable. He's going to be very, very solid, especially this early on in the game. To Kambe Mutumbo, a card I think is fine in 2K. I know a lot of people who started the game like the Kambe Mutumbo, and here's the reason people probably like him. He's 7'2". I mean, outside of that, he's got 69 lateral quickness, which is okay. Rebounding wise, going to be solid. But defensively, he's just going to be able to hold it down. He's a B tier player. Again, I'm going to have a lot of these bigger centers at B tier. But I think Dikembe can do more than a guy like Arvydas Sabonis, right? I think Dikembe is going to defend better, has overall better stats. I just think he's a little bit better than a guy like Arvydas Sabonis, but I don't think he's good enough to put into that A tier category. A guy I do think I can put into A tier is Dwight Howard, right? If you compare Dwight Howard to Dikembe Mutombo, badge-wise, stat-wise, I think you're going to like what Dwight has to offer, starting with the 68 speed rating, including a ton of defensive badges with the bronze clamps. Not quite as tall as Dikembe Mutombo, which, I mean, could be an issue, but I think Dwight's going to move smoothly on the defensive end. Offensively, has some badges that you like to see, including this silver Lob City finisher posterizer. Inside center, I think Dwight Howard is one of the best auctionable inside centers that we do have available so far. George Mikan is a bona fide scrub in this game. Last year we saw a Pink Diamond George Mikan early on that was one of the top centers in the game. This George Mikan stinks. Again, part of the reason he's not in the worst tier, F tier, is because he has a decent array of badges and a 49 speed, not 25 speed. But if you use George Mikan, I think there's something wrong with you. I'm not trying to be mean or against George Mikan, but the card just objectively is not very good. And that's really all I can say about him. Kareem AbdulJabbar, he is super tall. Badge-wise, he's not terrible. But when you look at his speed and lateral quickness, he's just a worse version of Dikembe Mutombo. Just think of a worse moving Dikembe Mutombo. That's really what Kareem gives you. Now, as a base card, he's fine just because he's a giant and you can kind of cheese with him with how the game is played right now. But I think, a week or 2 weeks down the road, nobody should even use Kareem in their lineup. Domination, again, he's a fine guy to use, but if you go into Unlimited with Kareem, he might get fried like a piece of bacon. Kevin Mchale, a D tier player. I've played against Kevin Mchale a few times in the draft mode, and the dude does nothing good. 42 speed, 38 lateral quickness. The only thing keeping him out of F tier is the fact that he's got a good array of defensive badges. That's the only thing keeping him out of the F tier category. Still not a card I'd recommend to anybody, and I think the dude is a bona fide scrub as far as an overall player is concerned. Next guy, we get another stretch big here in Marc Gasol, and I think he's good enough to put it B tier. I played against him in Triple Threat Online today, the 100, and he greened quite a few threes against me. So I know he only has a 74 3 ball, but you also got to consider he does have bronze catch and shoot, which is an important badge for where we're at in 2K right now. Rebounding wise, defensively going to leave more than a little bit to be desired. But again, B tier are cards that I think are remotely usable. A tier and above are cards that I definitely recommend. But similar to a guy like Brook Lopez, I think Marc Gasol is going to give you about the same output as a guy like Brook Lopez. Now, Marcus Camby, he's not as bad as the guys at D tier. Again, an inside center. So if you're an inside center, you're already hurting a little bit. 50 speed, 43 lateral quickness. Defensive badges are decent enough. I think he's better than a guy like Kevin Mchale, barely. I think he's barely scraping the end of C tier, but C tier is not very good. You look at the guys at C tier, and I think Marcus Camby fits in really, really well. Now, Mark Eaton, Here's a card that people could have anywhere from S tier to anywhere to C tier. I don't think you can put Marc Eaton anywhere lower than C tier. Some people argue Marc Eaton's the best center in the game at 7'4". He's an absolute cheeseball. But for me, on the flip side of it, he's got a 25 3 ball, a 25 speed, a 25 acceleration, a 25 lateral quickness. So it's tough for me to know where to put Marc Eaton. I'm going to drag him into A tier just off of what I've heard on the card. He's got gold glue hands, incredible defensive badges. I think he can be a cheeseball, or especially early on in the game. I just think right now the meta is inside center. So, I mean, after you got the inside centers at S tier, who is that next best player? I don't necessarily know. I think Marc Eaton's going to be a cheeseball. We're going to see a lot of people start to run him. But the 25 speed and 25 lateral quickness is definitely a red flag to me, and definitely something that scares me quite a bit. So I don't know about Marc Eaton. I'm going to put him in A tier, but I'm not exactly sure about the card in general. Now, Mason Plumlee is a card I've used. I've evoed him, but I'm not a big Mason Plumlee fan. He's got a 58 3 ball, 57 speed, a 48 lateral quickness. So overall, he's got some okay stats, similar to maybe a Marcus Camby. I just don't know how much he's going to give me. I played with the card. I really didn't like him in general. He was fine, but he's not a card I necessarily recommend to some other people. Now, another stretch big in Matt Bonner here. I'm going to go B tier with Matt Bonner just because his speed and lateral quickness are terrible, right? And defensively, he's not going to get the job done. He's a one-trick pony, and that one trick is being able to shoot the ball. He can't even dunk the ball, can't handle it, can't rebound, can't really do anything outside of those two things, or that one thing, and that's shooting the ball. Now, he's obviously going to shoot the ball well. We know that with Matt Bonner, but outside of that, he's not going to do too much else. So I think a guy like Al Horford just gives you a little bit more, especially on the defensive end. Now, Mitchell Robinson, a card I think I overlooked a little bit at the start of 2K. I think I ranked him really, really low because of the fact that he couldn't shoot the ball. But he is 7'1", has 52 speed, 64 lateral quickness, and incredible defensive badges. I think as far as inside centers are concerned, and I think he is a token reward, Mitchell Robinson can play a little bit. I regret kind of bashing him earlier on this year, because looking at the card now on 2K database, I see a lot of things that I like about the card on the defensive end. Box, brick wall, chase down, interceptor, intimidator, rim protector, rebound chaser, post, lockdown. He's got a lot of those badges that I'm looking for, and I think people sleep on Mitchell Robinson, and I was part of the problem. I'll straight up admit that to you guys. Another card I think is very similar to Marcus Camby is Nate Thurman. Now, last year we did get a Nate Thurman pink diamond at the start of the year that was solid. 45 speed, 44 lateral quickness. He has every defensive badge in the game, though, on something. So that means something to me. Is it enough to put him into B tier? No, because his stats are terrible. But badge-wise, Nate Thurman is not that bad. Now, there are two Nikola Vucevic cards. Both of them, I think, are B tier, and the reason he is in B tier is because of one reason, and that's because he can shoot the ball. He does have a 25 speed, does have a 25 lateral quickness, but badge-wise, he's solid. He can shoot the ball a little bit. It's hard for me to put a guy like that any lower than B tier. He's at the lower end of B tier. Give me Bonner, give me Brook Lopez, give me those types of guys over Vucevic. But he can shoot the ball a little bit, and that's why I do have him at B tier. Shaq, in my opinion, right now, the best center in the game. That's my opinion, though. I mean, right now, you look at Shaq, 7'1", can defend inside centers, 79 speed, 56 lateral quickness. Incredible all-around player. Hall of Fame brick wall. I think that's one of the most important badges for Shaq that doesn't get looked at enough. We got to take into consideration Shaq's player build, 325, with Hall of Fame brick wall day one. I think that is super, super valuable. And I think when people start playing comp, we'll start really seeing how good that Shaq card is. Spencer Haywood, I don't know where to go with Spencer Haywood. I don't know where to go with him. I'm going to go A tier with him just based on the fact of his stats. I get it. He's only 6'8". I understand that. But he's got a 72 3 ball, 75 speed, so he can stretch the floor a little bit. Defensively, he's going to be solid. Badge-wise, he's just not very good. He's on the lower end of A tier. But give me Spencer Haywood over every single player at B tier. I just like what Spencer Haywood's stats are about Stacey King stinks, okay, guys? I put him in here because he is a token reward, so a lot of you guys might be wondering how good he is. He's terrible. He's not going to do much for you at all. 52 3-ball, not really doing anything on either end of the court. Now, Tiago Splitter, another guy I don't like a lot. I do think he's off of F tier based on the fact that he does have 50 speed, which we see a lot of these cards at D tier have. He's just not doing much for you. Again, a token reward, 6'11". He's okay. Not a card you should pick up at all. He's not. Now, this next guy, Vin Baker, is solid. He is definitely a solid card. He's solid enough that I'm putting him in A tier. Here's the thing. What can Vin Baker not do? You tell me. 72 3-ball, 67 speed, 54 lateral quickness, bronze catch and shoot, hot zone hunter defensively, box, brick, wall, pogo stick, tireless defender. He only has 17 total badges, so I know he's not the best center in the game, but he can stretch the floor a little bit. I think he can compete on the defensive end. And again, at the lower end of A tier, I think Vin Baker belongs there. You look at B tier, a lot of those guys can't play both ways. You look at Matt Bonner, he can shoot, can't really defend. You look at Bob Mcadoo, can defend, can't really shoot. I think Vin Baker does a little bit of everything, and so that's why I'm going to put him at the lower end of A tier here. Vlade Divac, he's terrible, man. This Vlade card is terrible. Like, he is terrible. I'm going to put him in C tier just because he's an amethyst and the fact that he is 7'1", but he is terrible. Badge-wise, I get it. He's got 20 badges. He can shoot the ball a little bit with a 69 3-ball. But we got to remember, he's got set shot 16. I'm sorry. If you're running him, you should probably look somewhere else because he is just not very good in the game. A guy I actually preferred over Vlade is Willis Reed. He's got 73 speed, decent enough defensive badges. I prefer him to Vlade. You guys can maybe disagree because Vlade is taller, but Willis Reed is not that bad. If you're looking for a center that has some decent speed, I think you don't need to look any further than Willis Reed. Wilt Chamberlain, in my opinion, right now, the second best center in the game outside of Shaq. I think it goes Shaq 1, Wilt 2, and then probably, nobody's really got Daryl right now, so 3, Channing Frye. I think that's the way it would go. Now, Wilt, is he better than Shaq? And this is going to be a common question for you guys, or how much better is Shaq than Wilt? Because obviously most of you guys know that I prefer Shaq to Wilt. Well, here's what I'm going to say. Badge-wise, they're pretty similar. What you guys got to understand, though, is I don't know outside of driving layup what Wilt really does better than Shaq. I just don't, right? Stamina-wise, Wilt is better, and stamina on centers is a key thing. That can't be overlooked. But outside of stamina, a little bit on rebounding, I don't know. I think Shaq just does more for me. I like Shaq's player model, maybe just a little bit more. He's faster. All the way around, I think Shaq's just a little bit of an upgrade over Wilt Chamberlain and all in all. Now, Big Z. Maybe the worst card in the game is Big Z. He literally might be. I get it, he's 7'3". So maybe that's good enough to keep him off of here. But what is Big Z doing for you? Like, I know big centers are kind of the meta, but Big Z is not it. He's not part of the meta. He can't shoot. He can't defend. He can't do anything. Like, at least with Mark Eaton, you've got some gold badges in there. He's 7'4". I'm sorry, Big Z stinks, and because I don't want Big Z to be by himself, we'll drag Chris Kaman down with him. But if you need height, guys, there's Kareem. There's plenty of other options if you want height compared to Big Z. I'm not high on Big Z at all. I'm just not. He has a 44 3-ball. I can't be any higher on the card. But this is our center tier list for today. Our day one, or our first tier list for this center position. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Again, A tier or above, I think is pretty elite. B tier is okay. Because if you look at A tier, every one of those guys, A tier or above, is pretty hard to get. I really think outside of maybe Spencer Hayward and Dwight, I think it's going to be pretty hard to get any of those guys. So at B tier, the guys I would recommend you look at, maybe Dikembe, maybe a guy like Mitch Robinson in the token market. And those are probably my main two that I would recommend you guys looking at. But the center position, it's tough to come by good players. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments if you guys have had any success with any of these players, or if you guys do not like any of these players. Drop a like on the video, subscribe if you are new, and as always, man, I love you guys, and have a blessed day.